All right, guys, it's Philip. It's Toon Tactics TV, and we're going to the Fulham match preview. WhoScored.com predicted that Newcastle are going to lose 2-1 to Fulham at the Cottages. Now, this is an interesting prediction, and they based it on the fact that Newcastle obviously are missing players, key players, but also because Fulham have an exceptional home record and are playing really well at home. Not so much away, but are playing really, really well at home. They did suffer a shock. They called it a shock defeat to Nottingham Forest at Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. And they expect Fulham to bounce back against Newcastle, and that the key difference between the both sides that Newcastle have only won in their last one game in the last 4 competitions, and are essentially, as you guys can see, our injuries are piling up. We've got 11 currently, including suspensions. Anthony Gordon was there, but obviously he's going to be available for the game, whereas Fulham have no missing players whatsoever. So WhoScored.com, for instance, also matched, this is their predicted lineup. They think that Kraft will be playing right back for Newcastle. I think it would probably be Murphy. It would be great to see Trippier make a comeback. That'll be something worth seeing as well. And I also think that we may see Anderson play instead of Willock. But we'll come to that in a moment, and we'll come to why essentially WhoScored.com have come to their conclusions. Now, what I've found interesting looking at Fulham, focusing on Fulham, is this. They're not a counter-attacking team, and that's just a personal thing of mine where I thought they were. They're not a counter-attacking team. They are a very front foot forward team. Now, I'm going to show you a few things really. I'm going to start off with their strengths and their kind of average positions when they're playing teams. Now, this is them against Brighton. Brighton again was a home game for Fulham. It shows here, obviously, they created high number of chances, stole the ball very often. But if I'm going to go down to their average positions when they played Brighton at home. Now, this kind of shows them being a little bit more reserved with a number of players, with only a few players really beyond that halfway line, and they kind of hit Brighton, what appears to have happened, kind of really hit Brighton on the break and took control over that game, and obviously were very clinical on the other end. Brighton had the more shots and all those type of things, but Fulham really took control over that game. And so it seems to be at home that that Fulham are a little bit more reserved. Here's Fulham at home to Tottenham, way more attacking, and they've literally got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 5.5 players on the other side of the pitch. They're pushing Everton high. They spread their play. They're very, very good at spreading the play. They use their wings, obviously. Willan being there on the left side, being very, very pivotal for them. And their man Muniz, who plays for the centre, has been scoring a lot of goals. So they stretch the play, they're high foot pressing, but I think they're a little bit more controlled in their press when they're at home against teams, against any side really. And I think that's the secret to their winning, because they're not just winning, but they're also winning and not conceding. They beat Brighton at home 3-0. They beat Tottenham at home 3-0, and that's pretty significant. However, when they went away to Sheffield United, this is Sheffield United. You guys can see Fulham on the right-hand side here. Fulham are very aggressive going forward. Almost huge gaps between their back three, and they're very exposed. Now, you'd be thinking this is Sheffield United. That's why they've gone for it. Where Sheffield United left 3 men up, they really split it in half. Really left 3 men up front. Literally no one too much in the midfield. Almost like a mid block, and just look like the counter attack Fulham, and they just hurt Fulham that way. But Fulham, they overextended playing away against Sheffield United, whereas almost they took the same approach as they did against Brighton, especially. I think they would have won this game comfortably. But this shows you perhaps why Fulham have such a Jekyll and Hyde in their home and away kind of record and their feel in terms of what they're doing. Again, Fulham away to Forest. We'll show Fulham away to Forest. Now, this could be because obviously they fell behind, and the average positions again are really, really high, very, very aggressive. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in the opposition half. Whereas if you look at Forest, a lot more reserved, 2.5 players in Fulham side, and you guys saw Morgan Gibbs-White score. You saw Hudson-Odoi score. I forgot the third gentleman who scored. And you can see Forest did exactly what they did to us when they played us at St. James's Park, where they just hit, they counter-attacked, they were counter-offensive. Their guys, the ball runners, Morgan Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi, all those guys. I forgot the other gentleman's name. Elanga hit us on the break, exceptional ball carries, and they really hurt us. And that's exactly what happened to Fulham. Fulham again, as they did against Sheffield United, they overextended against Forest, playing away from home, and they really look at the massive gap they got between their defenders and their goalkeeper, and you can see exactly how Forest were able to hurt them. If that was Newcastle, they'll do exactly the same thing to Fulham and hurt them back that badly. However, Fulham do not play like this when they're at home, and you guys, as I've pointed out earlier, they are far more they are far more controlled, not reserved, I'll say. They are far more controlled in how they were and how they play at home against the better team. Going back to the Spurs game here, where they just spread, essentially they spread the play. Now you can see the average positions, and obviously it does look aggressive here as well, and it is aggressive. However, there isn't such a huge gap between their back four and their goalkeeper, for instance, and they've found the balance where they were able to press Spurs high, but also be able to defend. Now, going back to Newcastle, we're going to go back to Newcastle's game against Everton. Now, I know, and we know, this was a disappointing result because we were in such dominant control over Everton. We, as you guys can see in the summary, we created high number of chances. By the way, we are the highest in the league in terms of biggest chances created, and we're really, really doing well in terms of the attacking side of things. The defensive side is a lot to work on. However, again, I'm going to go back to the injuries. That is what is really, 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 really hurting us. Going back to the Everton game, 18 shots, 14 from open play, 3 set pieces. Only once did we have to counter-attack them. We took absolute control over that game and over Everton. Here's our average positions when we played against Everton. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5 players. With Bruno pushing up as well in the Everton side. Everton really counter-attacking against us, and we're holding, and we've got a good balance between our midfield and our defense. And we're doing well there. Where we succumb to is what I was saying in our pre-match preview, was not allowing Everton to, not giving away silly fouls in the final third and letting Everton hurt, which is exactly what happened. We gave away silly free kick, a ball into the box, Dummett got panicked, and he brought down Ashley Young, and that gave away the foul, that gave away the penalty. We also didn't convert our chances, which is unlike us, with the cutback to Isak, for instance, and also which was a gilt-edged chance, and also Jacob Murphy. We're going to have to be on our toes. We're going to have to be a lot more clinical when we play against Fulham. So going into that Fulham game and going into back into that prediction from WhoScored.com, that they believe that Fulham will win this game 2-1. Their belief is that, again, Fulham are a front-footed team. They're aggressive in their press, but they're a lot more controlled in their press. They'll spread the play. And obviously, if Kraft plays, I think Willan will hurt Kraft. Longstaff, who there's been a lot of talk about, a lot of criticism, has been playing for injury. He's had a number of days off now between that game, and hopefully we'll see an improvement for him. I wonder if Gordon does play on the left side, or does Howe leave Barnes on the left side and get Gordon to play on the right. I think Gordon goes to the right and leaves Barnes on the left. Personally, I think Anderson comes in for Willock again. He's been better on the ball. Willock as well, still possibly playing for injury. Where I think Newcastle can take points away from Fulham in this game is, I'm wondering what does Eddie Howe choose to do? Fulham are going to spread the play. They're good at passing. And that's the other thing I wanted to show you guys in terms of the things that Fulham are pretty decent and are pretty good at. This is them on the bottom. Accurate passes, they're 8th in the league. Accurate long balls per match, they're 3rd in the league. That's fantastic. And accurate crosses per match. Remember, they spread the blade, they do the cutbacks, and they do the crosses into the game as well. They are 4th. They are exceptional at that. That's pretty good going. They're in the company of Liverpool, for instance. So this is where the main threats are. What does Howe need to do? What does Howe need to do in order to take points away from this game? And what does he choose to do? I think he's got a number of options. He's got killers up front in Isak, Barnes and Gordon. He can either choose to fight fire with fire in Fulham and hit them head on, and we essentially have a basketball game here. At which case, I think Willock may be the better option instead of Anderson because of his athleticism. However, I don't think that's what he'll choose to do, essentially, because we could get really, really hurt. Fulham could get really, really hurt, and I'm not sure it's a real kind of 50-50 chance. I wonder if he takes the same approach that he took in the game away to, at home to Wolves, where he essentially gives Fulham the ball as he gave to Wolves, and we hit them on the counter attack. What that will also enable us to do, again, we can choose where Fulham can hurt us, because Fulham can go through the centre as well. We've got really good midfielder in Paulinho. Pereira is obviously defensive, very good on strong in the tackle. Pereira, who's good on the ball and spreading the blade to Traore and Willan. So I think if it's going to be that midfield battle, does he let Hall, for instance, invert and play alongside Gomeres and push up Willock or Anderson on that left side in order to match them on the wing on the left side, but also push up Longstaff or whoever will be on that right side as well. And I think it'll be Murphy. I think Murphy for pace or Willan can stick with. That's why I think Willan will be better. That Murphy will be better, not just because of pace, but I think also his end product. I think Kraft really is struggling to get back into match fitness and match form. And he will take control over the centre, and he will let essentially Fulham hit us on the wide sides, but we take control through the middle, where we can spread the play to Barnes, spread the play to Gordon and Isak. Isak has been doing more and more. I saw him doing it against Everton. I saw him doing it against West Ham, which is dropping into that midfield, again, adding numbers into that midfield and spreading the play. We saw the magnificent assist he made to Barnes. When Mark Barnes ran onto that ball, there's always that danger of Newcastle being able to do that. So I wonder if Eddie Howe chooses a Newcastle, not necessarily play a low block, but maybe a mid block, and take a slightly more counter-offensive approach to the game and let Fulham come on to us and hit them on that break, really hurt them. Robertson on that right side is excellent for Fulham. He's going to be really pushing up as well. I wonder if he leaves Barnes up there, he can hurt them on that break. Castagna too as well. Can Gordon hit them and hurt them on that break, and let Hall and Willock, Longstaff and Murphy really also kind of counteract their play and really take dominion and control over that midfield. So I wonder if Eddie Howe takes that approach instead of a fire with fire approach. My prediction for this game is that I think Newcastle can win this game. I'm going to predict a 3-2 victory for Newcastle. Let me know what you guys think. What approach to the game do you think Eddie Howe takes? What tactics do you think he uses? Who plays? Do you see Willock playing instead of Anderson? Anderson instead of Willock? Who do you guys see taking control over this game? What do you think the score predictions will be? I'm curious to know. And until next time, guys, take care and God bless.
Take on the shot, Fabian Sheff.